What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Post-Gazette Pirates YouTube channel. He's Andrew Destin. I'm Noah Hiles. Andrew, we have a game to react to.
Yeah.
Pirates win 10-5 in their Grapefruit League opener in Sarasota at Ed Smith Stadium. Great performance overall by the offense. The bullpen pitched 7 innings, only allowed a couple of runs there. A lot to break down, and I think we got to start off with the guy who headlined that offensive effort, Matt Gorski. 2 homers, a grand slam in the 9th being one of them, 6 runs batted in. Your takeaways on the multi-homer effort by the former second-round draft pick?
Yeah, for Gorski, certainly, the kind of showing you'd like to have coming out of the gates in spring training, right? And frankly, this is a guy who I would say the pressure is on him. This is somebody who at a point in time, you go back and look at those MLB pipeline top 30 lists, there was a point in time where he was a top 15 guy, a top 20 guy for the Pirates, and he kind of fell out of favor a little bit, took a little bit longer to get developed after he played college ball at Indiana. Now he's, gotten to AAA last year, had a better year, made some mechanical tweaks where he's taking less of a bucket step with that left foot. The swing looks good. It's certainly funky. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's unique. Yeah, for sure.
But it's in a better spot. And I think that's just an important takeaway is that obviously the on-field results, right? Getting 2 home runs, yeah, you'll absolutely take that day. But he looks comfortable up there.
And I agree with the first point you made. I mean, the clock's ticking for this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had success in the minor leagues. I think he had an 841 OPS in AAA last year in 113 games. He's had 20-plus home run seasons in the minors multiple times. I believe he's 27 years old now. It's got to happen for him soon, and he knows that. A guy that I think we could see getting some time at first base this spring, and and I think that's a good thing. They should give him a look there because this team has a lineup that needs slugging, and he's someone who could potentially provide it.
Yeah, position flexibility, that is something that Matt Gorski can provide. He's somebody who can play center field, can play the corners, and first base is something he's added to the toolkit. But certainly not the only guy we'll be talking about after this game. There's another offensive contributor I'm sure you'd like to get into in DJ Stewart.
That's why we work together, Andrew. We read each other's minds. DJ Stewart, before Gorski came along, was the offensive star of today's game. We could say he was the offensive star of today's game with the varsity, I guess.
Yeah.
With the first stringers. First 2 at-bats, 2 well-hit balls, drove in the first 3 runs of the Pirates preseason, 2 of them coming with a double in the top of the first inning to right center field, and then a solo homer to that same part of the ballpark.
Yep, to right.
In the top of the 3rd inning. Andrew, this is a guy who 2 years ago had an 850 OPS for the Mets, someone who's played multiple years in the big leagues, came in as a non-roster invitee, but someone you picked to make the opening day roster.
I'll wear that one on the cap, I guess.
Looking good right now, anyway.
Looking good on February 22nd or whatever day we're looking at here.
Right.
No, I mean, hey, we talked to him post-game, the media scrum here in Pittsburgh, or the Pittsburgh-based reporters, talking to him about what exactly worked well for him in 2023 versus, not so much in 24. Felt like he found something with his swing, which he's now trying to tweak and getting into a better spot. The offensive capabilities are there. This is a guy who, the hit tool is what carries him.
Right.
It's not that versus a guy like Gorski where it's, he's versatile. He can play a lot of positions. Defensively, he's a good athlete, a guy who, was a 3-sport athlete in college or in high school, With DJ Stewart, he's a proven big league bat in the sense that he's done it before.
Right.
He's a veteran guy. He's a non-roster invite. The pressure is not necessarily on him, but if it doesn't work out this spring, you could be looking at, that's the end of the MLB playing career, right? So this can go one of 2 ways. I think he's got oodles of potential. Last year was certainly a down year for him, but probably a nice way for him to start the spring, especially against his former team.
And as silly as it is, I think something he also has going for him is the fact that he hits from the left side of the plate.
Totally.
I mean, they've got so many platoon options from the right side. You could play Triolo there. I mean, we've seen. Nick York, obviously, you reported. There's a whole bunch of guys. Billy Cook is the easy answer there, too, who know how to play first base or are learning first base, and guys who would be already in contention for that spot. Gorski, another one of them. But they're missing Horwitz, who's a left-handed bat. Stewart can be that if he continues to execute like this throughout spring training.
Yeah, brought the first baseman's mitt with him,
yes.
so he's prepared for that.
Played a whole one game of first base in his big league career, but, I mean, hey, that's more than some of these guys who are probably going to get a look this spring.
Yeah, 5 memorable innings with the Mets, but we got 2 memorable innings. I think I got that right. 2 innings out of Carmen Mlodzinski today?
They don't call him Andrew the Transition King Destin for nothing, folks. That was smooth. I'll let you just dive right into it. Carmen Mlodzinski started today, and that's going to be the focus here with Carmen.
Yeah, it's he had a conversation, it seems, last year with Pirates brass, at the end of the year, exit interviews, end of the season, those sorts of things, basically kind of making it clear, hey, I'd like to be a starter. And that was an open conversation. That wasn't something that they had closed the books on when he made the move to the bullpen back in, I believe that was 2023 or 22 going into the 23 season when he got to the big leagues. He was drafted as a starter. This is a guy who top 40 pick, out of South Carolina, had a bunch of potential, was a top prospect, and they moved him to the bullpen. Kind of a similar track to what Kyle Nicholas was. But it seems like they're going to give him the freedom to try and pursue being a starting pitcher. And I'm curious what your thoughts are on this, Noah, because there's a lot of guys in that starting pitching group right now, but he's capable.
I mean, he kind of falls in line with the guys I wrote about yesterday on Friday, which you could read at post-gazette.com, on how they're really going to value flexibility, versatility, that hybrid role that we saw Luis Ortiz pitch in last year. I think there's going to be a lot of those guys this year. I mean, and Mlodzinski makes sense to be one of them. I mean, you have Caleb Ferguson. I could see Oviedo being utilized in that role. Burrows and Ashcraft, I think, makes sense there as well. And yeah, I just think Carmen, I mean, as a guy who was an opener last year, he has been a multi-inning guy. He's pitched in the end. He reminded us all he got a big league save last year.
That's true.
One.
Yeah.
So that type of versatility, that's what's going to make this Pirates pitching staff different. Obviously, Paul Skeens, Mitch Keller, Jared Jones, and Bubba Chandler, that's the headliners. But if your back end can't get it done, or if you can't find a way to scrape together wins on a day where you need to build in some rest for those starters, or if someone does have a short outing for whatever reason, if you don't have those guys in your bullpen who can cover those innings, which was a struggle for the Pirates in August that led to the team's collapse. They didn't have those guys when they needed innings covered in a stretch where there weren't a lot of off days, or when there was a rain delay and you had to pull the starter early. They didn't have guys who could finish the job and hold down the fort. And I think the more guys like that, the better for this team, and Carmen fits that profile perfect.
Yeah, he can certainly do it. He's capable. And let's put it this way, too. I mean, he's basically proven over the last 2 years, when healthy, he can be a major league reliever. That's not a question mark anymore. At this point, it's, hey, this is a guy who had high pedigree. He was a top pick. He was a top prospect. You got him to the big leagues quicker because you moved him into the bullpen. Can he potentially reach a higher ceiling? Is he capable of more than we initially have been led to believe? Because in his current role, right, the ceiling for him is become a closer. And there's a heck of a lot of guys ahead of him on the totem pole for that. Certainly it's a complicated group, but I just think there's plenty of potential here. You can deploy him in a myriad roles. I think that this is only a good development for the Pirates. At least see what you got in the guy. Lengthen him out. They're going to, it seems like the plan is let him go as long as 3 innings this spring. See where you go from there.
Pirates open this one with a 10-5 win over the Orioles. They're back at it again Sunday at LeComp Park. Their home opener for Grapefruit League action. Mitch Keller on the mound. Andrew, real quick, what are you looking to see from Mitch?
Yeah, I think the important thing with Mitch is just where's the velocity at this stage.
Right.
It's not like the biggest of litmus tests in the sense of, okay, does he need to be throwing 97, 98 miles an hour? But the biggest concern with Mitch Keller when you look at the last 2 seasons has been the second half velocity, right? It drops a little bit. The performance drops a little bit. Where is he at physically, and how does that translate to the velocity, and how does he feel about it, frankly? I think that's an important takeaway is, sure, what he looks like. How does he respond? How does he feel about his outing afterwards?
He's Andrew Destin. I'm Noah Hiles. You can read all of our work at post-gazette.com, and you can follow all of our digital work here on the Post-Gazette Pirates YouTube channel. Please subscribe, and we'll see you again Sunday